What will happen in the near future in politics? This is a very interesting and important question to address. And with the rise of Generation Z and the departure of older generations, we are about to approach a completely different political environment from just a few years ago. That is certain. And today I want to talk about, especially obviously, what's going to happen in the United States, because that's where it's not where I live, but that's what I talk about mainly. I have talked about President Trump's work a lot. I have also talked about the presidential campaign a lot. I was making videos, 3, 4 videos a week. Sometimes I even made like 5 or 6 in a single week. So I know how everything went. Obviously, Trump won quite easily in a landslide, in a quite unexpected way, because people didn't expect him to win so big. But now we see what's going on, and I want to focus on the Trump movement for a while because I obviously have not been a fan of Trump since 2015. I wasn't around back then. I only got involved into politics in 2024. But I did endorse him very strongly in 2024, and I actually looked at the things he said, and it was a very strong endorsement. I was stating with confidence that I knew it was not perfect, obviously, like every politician, but I thought it was outside of the system. That's the whole appeal of Trump, in my opinion, and we're going to talk about it. And I've also said publicly a few months ago that I regret endorsing, and a few days ago on Twitter I said that it was better if Kamala Harris had been elected. Now, I think that the work that Trump has been doing has been extremely disappointing in almost all fronts. I can think of just one thing that is done which is good, which is the border. He has managed to seal the southern border, which is an extraordinary achievement and very important. I'm not denying that. However, I think that it has been extremely disappointing and underwhelming. And I think that this Trump administration highlights even further how problematic the deep state is, and not the deep state, the uniparty. Because irrespective of who gets elected, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, it looks like that none of the two parties can actually carry out their campaign promises. None of them can. And it is so interesting to analyze and take a look at what's going to happen after Trump's departure, because I do feel like that Trump is sort of different in the way he carries himself. And by that I mean Trump ran in 2016, 2015 as a Republican, obviously as a right-wing person, without a doubt. I'm not saying he's left-wing, never has been, or he was at a certain point, but in the 80s or 90s maybe. But something interesting about Trump is that he ran as someone outside of the establishment. He was talking about tackling the GOP establishment and tackling left-wing policies carried out by the Obama administration and that sort of stuff. So that was the whole appeal of Trump. Trump managed to speak to the disaffected white men, young men, and especially white men, obviously, and those sorts of people. In my opinion, he managed to fuel some of the more radical right people who really saw in him someone radical, someone nationalistic, someone who almost a white nationalist to some extent. That's what that part of the electorate saw in him, and that's why Trump won, I believe. And I recorded a video which never went out because I'm having problems with uploading videos. I don't know for what reason. I hope you're gonna see this video because it means that the problems have been fixed. I think the problems are with my tablet, which is almost gone. I threw a punch a few months ago, end of last year, and it never worked well since. Such a shame. But I've got an iPad. There are plenty of ways of uploading videos. But anyway, Trump is sort of getting killed by the same monster he created or fueled, which is quite interesting. I'm talking about the radical right and those sorts of people, identitarian people. And it's quite interesting to watch this unfold. But the whole premise of the Trump movement is dead, in my opinion. Because Trump is just like another Republican president. I don't see much difference, frankly. The big difference is his rhetoric. His rhetoric maybe is extreme, and to be honest, if you watch Trump rallies and watch Hitler speeches, there's not that big of a difference. However, then he happens to do more or less the same things of other presidents. Like, it's just all a show. As I said a few months ago on Twitter, if you believe in left versus right, you're stuck in the matrix, in the system. That's my opinion. And I do feel like Generation Z, given that it gets most of its information from independent sources, is gonna be different. I think that Gen Z demands someone authentic and someone that is outside of the establishment. And Trump was that kind of person to some extent. He was seen as that kind of person, even by me in 2024, wrongly. So I feel like that this leaves a vacuum. When it comes to the Democrat Party, there has been a populist. There has been a guy who tried to run as a populist in 2 occasions, but that was taken out by his own party. And obviously I'm referring to Bernie Sanders. Crazy Bernie, like Trump calls him, which I don't frankly like his policies that much, but I'm just saying he ran as a populist, as sort of the guy outside of the system. Is he that guy? Probably not. I do think he's authentic. He's not that guy, probably. I don't like his policies. For example, he says he wants to tax 100% people after they make $1 billion. And I'm like, this is crazy. You're going to destroy the economy totally. And the reason is very simple. All billionaires will leave, and the trillions of dollars that they have settled in the United States will be relocated to somewhere else. So that would be economic suicide. So I don't like his policies again. However, he's some sort of populist. But I do feel like that Gen Z demands someone who's true and someone who's outside of the system. I do feel like that people are starting to feel like that irrespective of whomever gets elected, the same things happen. And this is happening especially with the Israel issue. People are fed up about the fact that whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, whether it's Barack Hussein Obama, whether it's Bush, especially Bush, he's the number one of the list. The guy who went to war and lost 20,000 men, I think, or 2,000. I don't remember which one of the two it is. I think it's 20,000. I don't want to be mistaken. However, the guy who lost thousands of lives in a war, which benefited, guess whom? I'm not going to say which country, but you can understand which one I'm referring to. So Gen Z is fed up about the fact that regardless of who's president, it looks like they always listen to Bibi Netanyahu and Israel. They're fed up about the fact that whether it's a Republican or Democrat, nothing changes. So I do feel like that there is an opportunity, especially within the right wing. Left wing, I don't know, because I'm not into the left wing as much as I'm into the right wing. For various reasons. Because I follow more people that are right wing, or at least watch their content. I watch one left wing show, progressive show. So I don't know the state of the Democrat Party very well, but I can talk about the right wing. I do feel like that within the right wing, the more that the older guys depart, the boomers, and the more that Gen Z comes in, I feel like that maybe not in 28, but in 32, there could be some nominee that is truly someone great and someone that wants the country to thrive and someone that is different and fresh. And we thought Trump was the guy, or at least a big part of the right wing, especially in 2016, because he ran this campaign, he went against Jeb Bush. I don't want donors, I don't want their money, I'm against establishment, blah, 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 blah. It turned out to be the swamp. He wants to drain the swamp, and then he is the swamp. Like, how on earth that's going to work? There's no way that's going to work. So I do feel like that with this change of demographic, there someone could emerge and someone must emerge because now there is this vacuum. And Vance and Rubio are trying to rebrand as politicians who are not part of the establishment. They're trying to rebrand as fake nationalists, populists, but they're none of those things. Rubio is the number one neocon. Number one. Vance, not good, I think. Don't like it. I don't trust him on this. Maybe would be a phenomenal president. We shall see. But I do feel like that within the right wing, given the debacle, the Epstein debacle, I feel like the base is fed up. And they're really, or at least a part of it, because, look, I don't want to insult MAGA in any way, shape, or form, because I've supported MAGA strongly throughout last year. I owe a lot to MAGA, because most of my followers are Trump supporters, I assume. But I do feel like it's a cult for the big part. A big part of it is it's a cult. There is a big part of it which is behind Trump regardless of what he does. And that's why a few days ago I said it would have been better if Kamala Harris had been elected. The reason being that I don't think anyone would have bought into this absolute and utter lie of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Trump is Jeffrey Epstein, the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Obama made up the files, Biden edited them in order to destroy me, blah, 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 which is obviously false. I'm not saying Biden was good. I'm not saying Obama was good either. I'm just saying this whole thing about Epstein. This cannot be defended. We cannot tolerate this. And with the figure of Trump and people saying this is five-dimensional chess, he's leaving Israel for last and Epstein for last, whatever they say, people fall for this because of this aura and this aura around Trump. If this had been Kamala Harris, we would have been furious at her. So I think that after 4 years of Harris doing more or less what Trump is doing now, maybe even worse, I do feel like the chance of the public demanding and empowering someone who's truly pure in their heart and intentions, I feel like that in such a circumstance, the chances would have been higher. However, Trump is doing so bad that we might manage to piss off enough people to try to really go for someone to destroy or at least to shake up the system. That's what we need. We need someone to shake up the system, or some system, more than some system, some party, not some party, some conglomerate of people, some group to shake up the system, change the rules, and really go at it. That's what we need, in my opinion. And I feel like, as I said, that Gen Z is demanding such a change. Gen Z is demanding it. We still have the boomers who watch propaganda and whatever, so whether it's right-wing propaganda or left-wing propaganda, it's two sides of the same coin. I don't buy into this right versus left, oh, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat. This is BS. I do like that Gen Z is coming together, especially on the subject of sovereignty, because of the Israel stuff. Gen Z is really fed up with the state of Israel. Rightfully, I'd argue, because I think that Israel is a liability for the United States. I have said this repeatedly, it is a liability. Like this whole thing, this whole situation in Iran, this is not going to end. I think that the war is not going to end as long as there is no regime change. As soon as there is regime change in Iran, that's when the war ends. Guess who benefits from it, and guess who does not benefit from it? Do 2 plus 2, and the answer is 4, not 5. So, with the ascent of Gen Z and departure of the older guys, the boomers, something could really change, especially within the right. I don't know a lot about the left. I see that AOC is emerging, but I don't think she's real. And by that I mean, I don't think she'll be the nominee because Democrats will go with a man. Very simply. I believe the nominee will be Josh Shapiro. That's my idea. I feel like it's going to be him. I don't think it's going to be Newsom, because Newsom is rebranding. I don't know much about what he's done, but I know that people in California don't like Gavin Newsom, not even Democrats, not even the most progressive guys like this guy. Because I've been to California last year. Well, I went to California last year, and I saw that effectively homelessness is a big issue. Drugs is a big issue. I saw loads of people being homeless. Now, it's not just that was not the case just under Gavin Newsom, but certainly it's not a good look. Then he went to a private dinner where there was COVID restrictions. That's not a good look either. So I do believe that, I don't know much about the left, but I don't think it's going to be Newsom. Could be Newsom, frankly. Could be. Like, he's got a good chance at being, because he's rebranding really well. He's sort of distancing himself from the trans debacle, which was a big part of them losing the election because of the men playing women's sports, which is obviously Republicans took advantage of that unforced error from the Democrats. But it's true. I mean, I'm against, like, you can transition, but you're gonna have a huge advantage over biological women. So Republicans get my vote on that issue specifically. But I don't think it's gonna be Newsom, because he's rebranding, and that's fine. But Newsom was too radical in his policies. Immigration not so much under control, blah 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 blah. So I don't think he's gonna be the nominee. I think the nominee is gonna be Josh Shapiro, and he's sort of more an establishment figure, and that's what he is, truthfully. Maybe, at least that's my feeling. I don't know anything about Josh Shapiro other than the fact that he was in the talks of being Kamala Harris's running mate. However, I think it's gonna be him. But I don't know about the left. I don't know if the young people of the Democrat Party and the young progressives demand some populist, some real anti-system figure. However, it's very difficult to infiltrate the system. So even if someone really tries to go for it, it's going to be really hard for them to achieve anything substantial. That's very true. So we shall see. I don't know much about the state of the Democrat Party, because I'm not into it as much as I'm into the Republican Party. But I do know that the right wing is becoming less and less pro-Israel, correctly, because I'm not even talking about the actions Israel is doing in Gaza. That's a whole different discussion. I'm talking about specifically whether it should be an ally of the United States. I frankly think Israel is a liability. 100% believe it, and most people agree with this. Both the left and the right. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And I think also that people are starting to realize that there is a problem with the influence that Israel-supported lobbyists have in the United States, AIPAC, Jewish billionaires. I think people are starting to realize that there is an issue. And this is my whole opinion. This is what I'm saying, especially within the right wing, which is super pro-Israel. The boomers are all, Israel is our greatest ally. I disagree very strongly. Very strongly. So it's going to be interesting to see how things go. But to sum this thing up, people are fed up, and hopefully there's going to be a change. Hopefully there's going to be great things. Because Trump has been super disappointing, and I'm so I mean, I don't say this personally, because I'm not in the United States. I'm not a United States citizen. So I don't know, but I hear people talking about it, and this is the perception. Trump is being really disappointing, and it's a shame. It's a shame, because, hey, he had the chance to do great stuff, but chose not to. I think I've known him for 1 year, or at least known him closely, because obviously I knew Trump was even in 2016 when he was elected. I was 8 or 9, I remember. 8, yeah, I was 8. So obviously I didn't know his policies or any of that stuff back then, but he was never real from the beginning, always an act, probably. Certainly last year it was. It's a shame what has been going on. So this is my opinion, guys. Let me know what you think, And take care and see you soon. It's been a pleasure to be here with you, and I hope you have a good day.